Welcome back to Candid Conversations with Carmen. I'm your host, Carmen, and this is my side host,
Ashley.
And we have our wonderful producer, T-Nugget.
T-Nugget.
And on today's episode, we have a very special guest. She's been harassing us all morning, but a very special guest. Mommy, introduce yourself.
My name is Beverly Williams.
Oh, don't be like that.
Throughout the episode, she'll become more real, more authentic.
This is real.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. But anyway, on today's episode, I think we had some good topics that we have been pressuring her to be on for really since season 1.
Yes.
We were like, come on, you should come on the podcast. No, I'm not. When we started doing videos, I was like, oh, she's going to be on. She was like, you think? I was like, oh, yeah. So I got her between that in-between period between summer and school. And I was like, are you going to be on? She's like, I can't think about it now. I was like, just commit. Just commit. So she said,
He got trying to do the photo shoot, and he just put the photos up, and then it was like, you have to.
Right. We have pictures with you in it. So you're stuck. So on today's episode, we really, honestly, we had some topics. I was like, what should we ask her? What should we talk about? Because we talk all the time. So I was like, what would be good for people to hear about? Maybe things we don't know or we do know and we just never asked, or we had preconceived notions about some things. So I was like, okay, let's have a conversation. And I think it'll be a blessing to those that listen. Whatever they take from it, whatever they hear or see, I really do believe it'll be exactly what it needs to be, and it'll be received well by those who need to hear it. So I guess I can jump in with the question that I had. It's not deep or intense or anything. You'll be like, oh, okay. So what I wanted to ask you was, how do you maintain your individual identity? And I said that as an individual, like in general, when you are a wife and a mother, and then when you have been a wife and a mother for more of your life than you haven't been.
Wow. That's a good question. Do you know, a few years ago, I actually had to sit down and think about this question. What do I really like? What do I really like? Because just like you said, I have been married for more years than I
Was single.
And I've had children more years than I was single. So I had to think about it. What do I really like? And I realized that I didn't know. I didn't know what I liked. I liked the things that I did, the things that my husband wanted to do. I did things that I thought would be pleasing for my children to do. The activities that I decided to do were based on, oh, this will be so much fun for them. I went places that I didn't really like going because I wanted to make sure that you guys experienced a plethora
of things.
A lot of things. That you had a really, really fun childhood that was well-rounded.
Yes.
So after I sat down and thought about it, I realized that my identity, for one, is truly wrapped up in God. And I want to do, whatever I do, I want it to be pleasing to God. I want the things that I desire to line up with what He desires for me. So I started sewing, and I loved it. I started drawing, painting, and realized I can paint a little bit. I actually can draw a little bit.
A little bit. It looked like it can go into a museum, but that's neither here nor there.
It's not quite like that. But I realized that I like being creative.
Yes.
I like being creative. I like doing things. I like building things.
Yeah.
I like
staining furniture and all that stuff.
I like refinishing furniture. I like power tools. Sometimes I need a little help to maneuver them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I actually like doing those type things. But I still like, I'm still, my identity is my family.
So you were like, so you had to find the things that you liked, but in that you found out you did like us too.
I didn't think that was ever in question.
No, but
It's a given.
But no, what I'm saying is because sometimes when people go through these times of self-discovery or to look internally, it's like, I was doing these things, but out of obligation. It was not necessarily of something that was innately what I wanted to do. This is what I was supposed to be doing, and so therefore I did it. But then, I would hope they would have love for their children, but not everybody does.
Yeah.
And then they go through these self-discoveries and be like, I don't like my husband. I want to get rid of him and get a new one. Like that is what happens.
Yeah.
But you were like, okay, my identity is wrapped up in the Lord. So of course you weren't gonna go find you another husband, and you couldn't get rid of us. So because we would pack ourselves up and be like, where we going?
Nor did I want to. I have never regretted any season of my life. Never regretted any season. When I did not have children, it was a wonderful time. When I had infants, toddlers, wonderful time. When that season was over, it was over. Did I want it back? No. Yeah. Then we moved on to a teenage years and now adult years. Yeah. And I don't regret any of those seasons. And now, even though I have adult children living in the home, I don't feel as if I am
parenting us.
I don't
or being taken advantage of.
No, I don't feel like I'm being taken advantage of, but I don't feel like I have to tell you what to do.
Yeah.
I feel like our relationship is so that I can make a suggestion, but you're not obligated to do anything that I tell you to do. You're an adult. You're an adult. So it's up to you to make decisions, but I trust and pray that you will listen to God. And if I tell you something, I'm not just telling you just because. I'm not ever going to try to do anything that's going to hurt you. So, but yeah, I've loved every season of my life, and I have not despised any role that I've had to play.
Do you ever feel like, because when you said you realized you had to really sit down and say, okay, this is, what do I like? To like reassess and say, what do I actually enjoy? Because so much of my life has been making sure everybody else has what they like. Did you ever feel like you had, that came to, I know you haven't regretted any season of your life, but do you ever felt like that led to any type of resentment, even if it was temporarily? Or was it always just like a smooth process for you? It was like, okay, I made this decision. I chose to do these things. And it wasn't like I hated my life during those times either.
No. I can honestly say no. I did not. I didn't have any resentment in any season. When you have an infant, you're tired.
Yeah.
So that's what you just work through that season.
Yeah.
When you have 5 children under the age of 10 or 10 and under,
Yeah.
you're tired.
Yes.
You're tired. But did I resent that stage? No. It was just the season of life.
I don't know how you did it, because I had the girls last weekend and they were just going.
She was literally like, and I was like, Ashley,
And they're good girls.
They are so well behaved.
so well. Didn't have to do much of anything, but I was like, my goodness.
And honestly, it was really to the point where I was like, they are literally entertaining themselves.
They were.
And I would be like, y'all are fine. And I chime in a couple of minutes, every few minutes.
I didn't have to do
whatever.
much of anything.
She
but
was
it
like,
was like,
ooh. I was like, come on.
Do you know why?
well,
thank God doesn't give you children at the age of 10, 9, 8, 7. He gives you an infant so you can and they sleep a lot at first.
Yeah.
And so you can gradually get acclimated
Yes.
to having them in your life. And they become a part of your life so much so that it's
natural.
It's natural.
Yeah, because I was like, and Carl was like, Ashley, and I was like, but you don't understand. I don't mind the children. They were just fine. But first you have to watch them. You have to make sure you're on guard to make sure nobody trying to snatch up the children. It's kind of dim in the place. They like to talk and run, and you have to be engaging with them, even if they're not, when they do talk to you and they're not talking to each other. Then you want to make sure that they're having a good time. You don't want them to be bored or not having a good time. And for me, anytime I'm with somebody, I want to make sure they're having a good time. So that is like something that's in my mind the whole time. Like,
and that's what I also feel like you do a lot. Is you're like, I want everybody to enjoy themselves and all that. But at some point, I have to say, you're responsible for your own enjoyment. Like, I can't make you be happy. So I can do everything to make this be a fun day for you. And you could still be like, I hated it. Everything was awful. And you're like, oh man, I didn't do enough to get them to be happy. At some point, somebody has to be responsible for their own joy. You know, I mean, obviously it has to come from the Lord, but you have to be responsible for how you are willing to be joyful.
Yeah.
And so when they had a blast, I was like, come on,
They had
kids.
a ball.
I was like, okay, kids, girls, let's go. And Ashley was like, I was like, they're fine. We can talk, you know, but I was like, they're going to do what children do.
Yes.
Exactly.
And so I was like, whatever.
But yeah, you know, most people think I'm not a child person.
Oh yeah, you're very friendly. You're very friendly to everybody, but you don't have any children, so I can see why they would think that you're not.
Yeah. They would think you were more of a child person than I would be ever considered a child person.
You're actually more of a child person than me, I think.
I probably am, but that's because I have been around children before. You know what I mean? How you see them and you're like, okay.
But the thing is, what a lot of people think is really, I think that I'm just like, because I like to do a whole lot of stuff, and mommy can attest to this, like you go. But I used to babysit and take care of children, and I used to take care of y'all, and I watch y'all and everything. So people act like I don't do it because I just be going, and they like, oh, you're the fun aunt. You know, that's what they always like. You know, you're the traveling aunt. You bring back the good presents. Yes. But I'm like, no, I know how to change a diaper, and I know how to carry a baby. I know how to get the bottles ready. I know how to do all those things. Do I want to be doing that? Not necessarily, but for the children that I love and that I like, I'll do that all the time.
Yes.
Like that, I don't not like, I'll do it. Like I enjoy them. So that's the thing. And so I think that's the thing. But I commend you because I didn't know how you did it because you were teaching us, and I know myself, I was not the best child.
You were like, every chance you got.
Ashley, you were not a bad child. You were not a bad child. You had a bad season around 12. You know how they usually say at 13, a child starts to
bug the system and stuff.
Feel themselves and want to rebel a little bit. Yours came early. I think at between 11 and 12, you were something else. But the Lord would just say, don't say anything. Don't do anything. Just be calm. Tell her what you wanted to do. Don't listen to the tone. Don't listen to the attitude. And I did. Until he said, enough is enough. And when he said enough is enough, he gave me a vision. I don't know if it was a vision or a dream. But when he gave me that vision, you at that time, you guys couldn't open the front door without an adult being there. And in the vision, you went to the door and you opened it. And there was a being outside the door. And you opened the door and the being pushed its way in. And all of the rest of the children were standing behind you. And I was at the top of the stairs, and I came down, and I said, who is that? And the Lord said, that's the enemy. It's easy to let him in, but it's hard to get him out. And all I could see was the rest of my kids standing behind that door. Mm-hmm. And the Lord said, enough is enough. Mm-hmm. I went to your room that day. I don't know if you remember this.
I remember.
And I said, from this moment on, I'm not taking anything else from you like that. You will not be disrespectful ever again to me, and I mean that. And it never happened again.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know, but it's true.
It didn't.
Yeah.
She's never been disrespectful. Mm-hmm. Never been disrespectful. Ashley, I appreciate you more than you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Carmen, you didn't go through that stage, did you?
No.
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 Nobody else did. Not really. Mm-hmm. Nobody else did after that.
Not like that, but then at the same time, because you already like have like a strong will personality anyway, because you'll be like, they're not going to make me, and they're not going to tell me, and they're not going to break me.
I am not going to learn that poem.
Yeah.
There's no reason. Yeah, what grade were you in?
I don't know, but I got my first F.
You were in seventh grade.
It was 7th or 8th grade.
You were in 7th grade, and Paul was in 6th grade, and y'all were actually learning the same poem. You had to learn it by Friday. And you told me, I don't see why I need to learn this poem. What does this have to do with real life? It has nothing, it has no bearing on my life. I don't see why I have to learn it. And so I said, well, you still have until Friday to learn it. So Friday, Paul came. He had his poem memorized, and he recited his poem. He made a little mistake or two, but it still was very good. Mm-hmm. He got a good grade. Ashley, I don't see why I have to learn this poem. Say your poem. And she fumbled around. She did not know the poem. But at this point, I looked at Ashley and I said, Ashley, you have a choice. You can learn the poem on Friday, but if you do not, you will fail not only this class, but you will fail the entire 7th grade. You will repeat the whole thing next year. You will repeat the whole 7th grade, even everything that you got correct. I don't care. Even if you did well in math, science, social studies, you will repeat 7th grade. Not only will you learn that poem, you will learn poems of different kinds. Haiku, sonnet. And not only will you're going to write, I'm going to give you this poem book. You're going to read a poem. You're going to write that poem on one page. And on the next page, you're going to write your own that follows that same pattern. And you're going to decorate it. I am not an artist. I do not decorate things. I don't do that. I don't draw. You have until Friday, and it will be decorated, and it will be bound, and it will be beautiful, and it will be your poem book, and you will recite that poem. On Friday, it was flawless, perfectly done. Her poetry book was beautiful. It was decorated. I still remember it. She didn't do any art. She did cutouts on the front of it, white cutouts. I remember it was white.
Looked like butterflies on that yellow binder. I know.
It was beautiful, and every poem inside was it was amazing. Now Ashley's a poet. She writes poems. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. She writes poems. What does it have to do with your real life?
Oh, that was the worst. You know what? And at the time, all I could think about was, how dare I get an F? I ain't never got an F in my life. How dare she give me an F? And I
didn't give you anything.
you told me I
You
was
earned
gonna...
it. I never gave grades.
I was I can't believe you. Even that, I was like, you gave out, because I was like, I'm not taking responsibility for that. But and then Carmen little self was a snitch, and then she didn't ever seem like she got in trouble for nothing.
Because Carmen didn't like being in trouble. She didn't. She was very much like me growing up.
That's correct.
Very much like me growing up. If you told, I might have done something wrong once, but if you told me that it was wrong, I probably would not do that thing again. I'm not going to do that thing again. I did not like being in trouble. And when I told her to do something, she might have hesitated a little bit, but she was like, oh, but if mommy told me to do it, I better do it. Even after she became an adult, if I say, Carmen, you should probably take a sweater with you, she'll say, oh my gosh, and I'm almost out of the door. But she would always turn around, go back and get the sweater.
And I was the one. I do that now. I was not.
It's a whole lot easier to just bring the sweater, because when that breeze picks up, no regret.
Because Carmen knows that's just, and I don't know. And maybe it was just something innate, because she was very like, I'm not going to do those everything. But Mom, so when you had, like, because you had 5 children and we do have such different personalities, how did that play a part? Because I know there are people who have listened to our podcast that have children and they are different ages. How does that play out when you have somebody who is me, who would push against the system, and then you have a Paul who was very congenial at the time, and then you had Carmen who didn't want to get in trouble, and Troy who was a terror.
Your favorite.
And
He
Rachel
was not my favorite. I do not have favorites.
I know that you don't in your mind,
I
but
do
like
not.
in your heart. No, in your heart you don't. But like in real life,
I do not have favorites. I do not have favorites. I treat everybody like the individuals that they are.
yeah.
And everybody is so different.
They're just certain
And I have to
individual
treat I have to treat everybody differently, because you are so different. Yes. Somebody even told me once, you dress your children like they're only children. Because I didn't dress you like I dressed Ashley. I didn't dress Rachel like I dressed you. Why? Because you had different personalities.
She was stumped.
They did not look. You look different, and so your bodies were not the same. So I couldn't do the pass down all the time, because it didn't work. You were individuals, totally different people. Totally different people have to be treated totally different.
And Carmen's clothes couldn't be passed down anyway, because they didn't ever tear up or do anything.
Oh.
They grew with her.
We used to call Carmen's clothes the children of Israel's clothes, because they never wore out. And she could still fit them. She wore the same shoes. Do you remember those shoes that look like Charlie Brown shoes in the front? What kind of shoes?
Are you talking about my Skechers or my K-Swiss? Because they both
K-Swiss
last, and I'll be like,
they They never wore out.
You know what?
And she could fit them from the side, from the time she was how old? 5 or 6?
She was like,
so
nah.
she was 12. How does that work?
That might be a bit of an
No, it really was.
because you would get me a new pair, but yeah, no, they did last for an extended period of time, especially during growth years. Like, I would honestly be taller, but my shoes would fit, and I would wear a different size if I bought a new pair of shoes.
I know this for a fact. You got a dress for one of my niece's wedding, and you could wear that dress as an adult.
Yeah, I just gave
and you
it
were
away.
what, 12 years old?
Yeah, I was 12 at her wedding, and I just gave the dress away because I was like, it's not really my style anymore. I'm giving it up. But yeah, I could fit that dress until I gave it away.
And it was crazy. And then she had these other shoes that they lasted for years and years. And then she said, I'm giving them. I don't want them. Does anybody want them? And we were like, no, we don't want them. She said, okay, I don't want them. She sat them out in the hallway. They disintegrated. They look brand new. Could walk in them, everything. She said she didn't want them and nobody else wanted them. Disintegrated. I was like,
there's something to it. But one thing I do know about Carmen as a child, Carmen was a giver, even as a child. And the Lord told me she would never lack for anything because of her heart to give. And he would preserve everything that she owns. Even to this day, her clothes always look new. They always look new, no matter how many times you wash them, no matter your shoes they never run over. Your things are preserved. And I think it's because of the way that you gave. Even as a child, she would give almost all of the money that she had for tithes and offerings.
And she did, I remember that time she said she was going to donate to Southwest Atlanta Christian Academy, I think it was. She said, I want to give to them, and I'm going to give this money. And she did it for like a year. And mine was like, she was little. She was like 5.
I remember this.
You were maybe a little older than
maybe
5.
5 or 6. And she gave, and it was like, you will be blessed because of this for your rest of your life. Because she was that little and she was wanting to do that.
Yeah, I remember going to the Southwest Atlanta Christian Academy.
You did.
It was. And that really blessed me because I wasn't really a giver. In a sense of, and this is what I'm going to say, I would give my tithes and offerings because I knew that was what the Lord, I wanted to honor the Lord. But I was also save my money to get what I wanted because I wanted to be independent of everybody else because I was like, I don't want to be taxing to mommy. And I learned that if you save your money, you get what you want. And so I don't know if that was a really good thing because I was like, but when I saw you giving and I saw the blessings that came upon your life, I was like, I want that, but not from the bad point of just wanting to get, but it was like, I also like to give, like take care of y'all. That was not, I would like to give to the family, but it was like, that was a ministry to me as you being little and you not thinking about it, and me being older saying, oh, well, that's a testimony to me to give with, but not from a place of wanting to get, but to give just because I have a desire to give to the Lord. And so I think that was really a blessing to me. So that changed the way that I had an outlook on giving.
I think though, as a family, I'm going to just say for you, Ashley, you've always been a giver. You've always been a giver too. I remember when Carmen was too big for a bike that had training wheels.
Yes.
And she had those training wheels on that bike, and it was so low and low to the ground, and her legs were almost dragging. I remember you and Paul laughing, oh, Carmen, no, you're too big for that bike. But after you came in the house, both of you said, can you take me to Walmart? Can you take us to Walmart? The two of you got your banks, took your money out of it, and bought her a bike.
Yeah, my blue bike. I love
bought
that
a
bike.
new bike for her with your money. That spoke volumes to me. That spoke volumes to me. I was so blessed by that. I was blessed, and that wasn't the only time, but there were several times like that. But that was a big thing because we were still living at our old house, and so you couldn't have been more than, how old were you then when we moved here?
I think when I got that bike, I was probably like 8, maybe 7.
You're 5 years younger than me?
No.
Because I was, you were younger than that because
I was tall enough to ride that bike when I was that young.
Because we moved here when I was 11.
So that would have been 7 when we moved here.
So you must.
Well,
it was
I was probably
that.
about 6.
Okay, so that was about 6 years old. So yeah, you weren't even. You were so young, and you were still willing to give your money for something for your sister. That blessed me. That blessed me.
Yeah, I like giving gifts.
I love that bike.
I know.
That was one of the best gifts I've ever gotten to this day.
Really?
Yes, I love that bike. It was blue.
Yeah, but I cannot complain.
I did have a question because I know you, and you can tell me if you don't want to answer this or not, but I know that you went through a time in your life where you were not feeling well. You were sick, and not really many people knew about it or anything like that. And I know for me as a child, I didn't really understand it as much. I wasn't very empathetic, and I was also going through that was during my time when I was going through my time of
Rebellion.
anger and rebellion. But did you feel misunderstood during that time? Like people weren't seeing you and what you were going through.
I cannot say that I did. I don't know that I was outwardly focused. I was focused on the word of God that said, by his stripes we are healed. And I was focusing all of my energy on just being able to get up out of the bed to take care of my family. And if I had a good day and I was out, we were in co-op at the time. And so I had to go out 2 or 3 days a week. And I would have enough strength to go out that one day. The next day, I was probably not going to be able to get out of the bed the next day. Then I'd be able to go the next day. And so that was our life.
Yeah.
That was our life at that time. But I can say that you might not have felt empathetic, but you were very helpful still, and everybody was. And I thank God for this family. I thank God for this family. But God is a healer.
Yeah.
God is a healer. I remember one day I was in bed and I said, Lord, I'm not leaving here today without a word from you. I'm not leaving this spot without a word from you. And I'm in bed. Gene got up. He got up really early at that time. I think he had to be at work
At like 5 o'clock in the morning.
early, like 6 o'clock in the morning. And I said, do you have a word from God for me? Do you have a word from God for me? And he was like, no. But he started praying. He was like, no. But he started praying. And before he finished praying, he said this one thing. He said, your faith has made you whole. Oh my gosh. I got up. I threw that medicine in the trash that I used to take. And the Lord started strengthening me that day. That day. I went back in and I got the medicine out of the trash can. Not because I wanted to use it, but I wanted to remember the day. The day.
Memorial.
I wanted to remember how faithful God was to me at that moment.
Yes.
How he, by his power and his might, came in and healed me. And I don't know if y'all knew, I was so thin at the time. I had gotten down to a size, I was really a size 1, but they were too small, and I was actually having to pin the pants because I didn't feel like sewing, even though I could sew. I didn't feel like sewing, but I was able. But I would pin those pants and put that suit on, and the Lord would always tell me, no matter how you look, when you leave your house, you take care of yourself. And never go out looking disheveled just because you don't feel good. So I always made a special effort to look presentable when I went out.
Yes.
Yeah. I remember that. And you told me that, and I tried to, but sometimes I'm still working on that. But I think that was a really good thing because I remember we went on a camping trip, and I think I was like 12, and I had a really moment where, I used to have dreams, and I would tell you about my dreams, and in the dream, it was so real. And to this day, I think I told Carmen about it. In the dream, you passed. You were really sick at that time, but I didn't really know how sick you were. And she And I was like, I think that was, and this is what I know. The Lord hears your prayers, and he has always heard my prayers. Mm-hmm. And I said, Lord, I cannot. Now, y'all, first of all, some of the things I was thinking were the trials of mine. So that was,
how am I going to do my hair?
No, it wasn't that. No. I said, God, I can't do all the things that mommy can do. Mm-hmm. And I said, Lord, how am I going to help daddy with the children? I can't do those things. Yeah. I don't have that capability. I don't have that right. And so I was like, Lord, I said, you have to heal her because there is nothing. And I said, she will not die. This is what I said. I said, Lord, she will not die. Mm-hmm. Because we aren't ready. I said, I'm not ready. Mm-hmm. So I said, you're going to have to make her live for a long time, and just come back. And we all just be taken up in the air because I cannot. Mm-hmm. And because I cannot, she will not. Yeah. And so when I told God that, he honored that. I was shook. So shook. Y'all don't know because it was so real. I have dreams that are really, really real in the moment. And so I was like, I will not, and this will not happen. And so the Lord honored that. And so I don't know, that was something, but even in that, I didn't know that she was sick like that. Y'all don't understand. So when God showed me that was just a dream to me. Yeah. It wasn't until years later when I saw, and mine was talking about, I was sick. And I was like, and Carmen was like, she was sick. And I was like, I knew she didn't feel well. Mm-hmm. But I didn't know the depths of what it was because like I said, I was going through my time period where I was only thinking about myself. And so in that moment, like mommy's talking about her prayers. And like, I'm not going to leave God. Yeah. Presence before he gives me a word. Mm-hmm. He showed me something. Mm-hmm. And so while she was praying her stuff, that makes me see that God was saying, okay, you have to have faith too. Mm-hmm. And to believe. But that's the thing is, I knew that God was real enough for me to say, God, I cannot. Mm-hmm. So she will not. Mm-hmm. You have to honor that. Yeah. Because I'm asking you for this. So you're going to give me what I want.
Now, I just think that God was just gracious. Mm-hmm. He was gracious.
Yes, I do.
God is such a gracious God to us that he restored me. And I'm so thankful. Yeah. I'm so thankful for the restoration of God. So somebody told me, oh my gosh, you gained so much weight. Yes, thank God.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes, thank God. Now, I might not want all of this extra weight. However, I'm thankful. Yeah. I'm so thankful.
Better this than that, right?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
My God is so good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. My God.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mommy told me she was gonna make me cry.
No.
She did kind of joke about it. She was like, "I think I am." She's like, "I don't know." You're like, "I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't know what I'm gonna do." Yeah. You did. You did. You kind of made yourself cry.
Somebody, is there anything you want to ask us since you getting to sit down with us, and to know anything about us that we don't talk about on the regular, or even that we do talk about on the regular?
I want to ask, I guess I want to ask, how does it feel to be an adult child living at home with us? Is it
so taxing?
Yes.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Because I'm sure other people probably think that, want to ask that question too. How does it feel to be an adult still living at home? Does it feel like you're, like somebody told me, that I'm at this age and I'm not where I want to be in life?
No, it's not that. I think, so there was a lot of stuff that the Lord had to work out in me because I was at a place when I was in college, when I first started wanting to go to college, where I wanted to get away and just live my life and do whatever and just be out because that's what you were supposed to do. But as time went on and I got to a place where you know, I was like, okay, I can go ahead and get my own stuff. And we talked about this, and we started looking at houses and different things like that. And we saw this house, and it was gorgeous. It was in this beautiful neighborhood. And I was like, this is exactly what I like. This is what I want. It was well built. It was everything. And I said, I want this. And I told my mom, I said, I think this is perfect for you. But I said, I have to pray about it. I can't buy it without praying about it. And so I went and I said, Lord, you know the desires of my heart. You know that I want to have a nice home. You know that I want to have these things. And this is perfect. It's in my price range. It's close to the house. And I will have, you know, I'll be able to get to work on time, all this kind of stuff. It was perfect. And the Lord guided me to a scripture in the scripture, and it talked about, for me, was headship and coverings. And so he was showing me, for me, and this is not for everybody, but for me, Daddy was my covering. And for me to be in a place of getting all the things that I needed, and to be, God is his covering, and God is also my covering too, but Daddy is my covering. And so because of that, the blessings that are on Daddy and on his life, they trickle down to me. And so for me to be in a place of security and a place of safety was for me to be at home. And so until I get married, I can't leave here. Because Daddy is my covering. And that is how God meant it for people not to go out. Because that's what, if you notice in the Bible, the children stayed at home until they got married. Even the grown men. Isaac was still living at home with his daddy. And then when he got his wife, then he went out. Then he did this spread. Now, they might go on journeys. You know, Jacob had to go get sent out, and he found his wife and whatever. And that happens. That's life. It's not everybody. But for some, they stay home. And it's not because I can't leave. It's not because you can't leave. It's because God told me something. And I had to stand on it. And when I get in my feelings and I want to be like, I'm just going to boogie you away, I have to remember what God told me. And so to know that Daddy is my covering, Mommy is, they're my protection for this thing. And yes, I'm 33 years old and I can make decisions by myself, and I can buy a house and everything. But why struggle? Why get outside of the grace of God on my life to be like, I want to be independent. I want to live outside of the house. So yes, I live in their house, and it's my house. But I like her. I like Daddy. I like y'all. I don't have no problems. Like I don't have no beef or no nothing. And we help each other. We do different things. We have a symbiotic relationship that works very well. Sometimes I know I've asked you, I was like, are we codependent? Like, could at this juncture in my life, could I, do without y'all? But when the time comes, I'm gonna be like, see y'all later.
Yeah. Take me, honey.
But no, when that time comes, that is it. But that for me, so no, it's not a hardship for me to stay here. Carmen?
Yeah. Same to your ending sentiment. I will say that I was not that the way that you have gotten that revelation for it to be like, you need to stay here, stay under this covering, all that stuff. For the Lord just showing you that for yourself personally, that has not been revealed to me that way. But the thing is that
you be trying to get away. And you
let's
can't.
hear.
It's not about me trying to get away. And I think that's the thing. If you be like, you trying to go somewhere, trying to do something. I'm at a place in my life where I'm like, okay, like, what do I want? You said, like, what do I like? I'm like, what do I want? So I'm like, okay, am I trying to get me a little something, give me a little place within what I want? What do I want? Because me and Troy have been house hunting. Because, he's my real estate agent as well as a producer. So I told him, hey, Troy, I want you to find some properties for me. Because I work remote, I have the flexibility to essentially live wherever I want to live. So my budget can be what it is, but if I move a little bit further out, I can get more bang for my buck. So I said, hey, Troy, look for me some property, some things, and we can start going to look at some places. I'm just dabbling with the idea. I'm not saying, I'm trying to run away or get away or anything like that. I'm just like, what's next? Like, okay, what do I want out of my life? And so I was like, and then I was like, what do I want from a home? I was like, if I get the house that I want to have, I was like, the house that I want and the house that I know I can get, I'm like, I don't know how you progress, like, because I'll be content in that.
Yeah.
It'll be just, that's it. Like, I won't be like, oh, I need to move to something else. I'm not trying to get a starter home.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to have, a 2-bedroom, 1-bath kind of thing going on. I don't. I want the granite countertops. I want the luxury master suite. I want the several bedrooms. I want a home office. Like, I want all these things on my list, and I could get them.
Yeah.
So I wasn't like, oh, but at the same time, with me saying all those things, like, what do I want? The Lord also had to reel me back. And not to say that I'm not trying to find something. I'm still a little undecided on that. The Lord, he had to reel me back. And he was like, cool, you want all these things. Why? And I was like, okay. So then you have to get into the examining of, why do I want this stuff? Is it because I'm feeling unfulfilled in some area of my life? What is it that I'm not getting here that's making me say, oh, I want to branch out to something else, or I want to be somewhere else? And so he was really saying, what is it? You got some things you need to work out. And it's a lot easier to work it out under somebody else's umbrella with your hands free than you having to hold the umbrella yourself and figure out your own shortcomings, your own flaws, your own errors. And you're like, broke down, who's going to support you? You know what I mean? No, I mean, really.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so he was really just showing me, like, Carmen, you got a ways to go here, like, in your life. That doesn't mean you're doing the work. You're growing, you're changing, you're developing, but you still got a ways to go. And so it doesn't mean that you can't have the thing, but are you ready to have the thing? Is what he was saying. He was like, you can have it. Are you ready to have it? And I was like, am I ready to have it?
I'm going to give an example of something like that. Years ago, I worked at AT&T, and everybody was getting new cars. Oh, everybody, come to the window and see my new car. Come to the window and see my new car. And I got in my mind that I wanted a Volvo. It was luxury enough, but affordable enough for me at the time. And so I thought that's what I wanted. We went to the car dealership and got rejected. We could not get the car. And I was asking the Lord, why everybody else can have whatever? The Lord just was ministering so many things. You need to appreciate what you already have. You already have something that is a blessing. But you want more. But why do you want more? Do you really want more for you, or do you want the more for outward show? So that other people will think that you have arrived.
Correct.
And the Lord, after the Lord ministered that to me, my desire for that car diminished. And people would bring me to the window to see their car. And I would say, I want to show you mine too. And I would point to my paid for Toyota and say, that's my car right there. And it's paid for. I was thankful. I finally got it. I got so thankful for that car. And the only reason I got rid of it was because it started giving me trouble.
Yes.
And that was the only reason I got rid of it. I love that car. And we actually ended up giving it or selling it to someone for a very low price. And they drove that car for years and years after that. But so the car was truly a blessing. But it's not about the car or the things, the house, and all. It's the reason, your motive for wanting the thing.
Yeah.
The motive. I feel like when you told me you were interested in purchasing a home, whatever you desire. If you desire to stay here, wonderful. If you desire to get a home of your own, wonderful. I'm 100% behind you, whatever you decide to do. Will we miss you if you leave?
Of course
yes,
you
we
will.
We will miss you. Ashley, if you decided that you wanted to leave and buy a home tomorrow, I believe that you are equipped to manage your money, to be able to manage your home. So yes, you're equipped. I think that you're both equipped. However, I want you to do everything as unto God. If it's God directed, it will be God blessed.
Right.
So, but things have my sister and I were talking this morning, talking about the deceptiveness of riches, and how you can get so deceived by the things that you can have, or the things that other people have. You start looking to the left and to the right and what this person has and what that person has. Then you can't be content where you are. But if you are content in the Lord, He will show you the blessing in what you already have.
He sure will.
Yeah.
And that's on period.
So, Mom, you got me for a while.
How do you know?
How do you know?
You might meet Jethro in a couple of weeks.
And you might too.
I doubt it.
Oh, you never know. You start walking outside a little more.
Y'all are so much. Too much.
Oh my gosh. In a little bit, we'll see Troy.
He's got a minute.
No, I didn't say. I said in a little bit. A little bit is not necessarily a time frame of right now.
Well,
a little bit. A year,
in God's timing. In God's timing.
Oh, I see that for us it was you don't know, but for Troy's God's timing.
No.
I'm joking. I am totally joking. But yes, I think that is interesting. And for you having us here with you, do you sometimes be like, I want y'all to get out?
She's about to make a joke. I already know. I can look at her face and tell.
You know what? I do not.
Yeah.
I do not feel like that because I can live my own life. I don't have little babies. I go on whatever. I leave when I want to leave.
You sure do.
I go where I want to go. I do the things I want to do.
Y'all pick up dinner, don't get us none.
Yes, but and then sometimes when I come home, when I come home, you have these delicious meals already prepared. It's just it's lovely. So and I have fresh bread made from scratch. You know, those kind of things. Wow, I'm living the best of life. So no, I am not. I'm not trying to push you out of this house because we dwell together in unity. If we were not unified, it would probably be a different story. If our lifestyles were so drastically different, it would probably be difficult. But it is not difficult. It's not difficult because everybody adds something to this household.
Yeah. Carmen. And I know you just can't live without me. You would be so disappointed to not come to your house and see me every day.
I think my silence is telling.
You would have to have somebody.
I will say
because you like to talk.
It's not, girl. The phone is right there. So no, it's not. This is the talking thing. But I really was confronted with that fact. I was like, oh, you'll be alone.
Yeah.
Like, and I was like, I mean, you won't, like, physically you'll be alone. Like, the Lord is with you always. But you'll physically be alone. And I was like, okay, like, how will you deal with that? And I definitely am a people person, like an interaction with people first when I want to be.
Yes.
Type of person. So I definitely was like, okay, that could be a challenge. But I feel like it's something I could work past.
I feel like if you did try to leave, or when you do leave, for a little bit, you'll probably be coming home. Or we will be at your house all the time.
Honestly, I do feel like y'all would just probably be there a lot. Like, obviously, I wouldn't make it so that you feel like you reside there if you don't. I want you to know, like, you are a visitor, as not to blur the lines. But at the same time, like, I'll be like, Troy will clearly have a room, like, that's designated for him. Like, that just goes without saying, because he's going to do my lawn and take my trash out and stuff. So, because there's certain things I'm accustomed to not doing.
Yeah.
Like, I know. I need a lawn crew, and he'll do that for me. and like taking my garbage down and stuff. He can do that.
Carmen, as a homeowner, you're supposed to do those things.
I can get somebody to do it. He's
true.
the person that I'm getting to do it. But he would have a room. Like I said, if you lived with me, like obviously you have to be paying rent and all that. But if you lived with me, then you could reside there. But if you don't live with me, then I would want to make it known, like, hey girl, good, I'm heading to bed. Maybe go ahead and head home. You know, I don't want it to feel like, you know, I want you to feel welcome, but I don't want you to feel overly so.
And you're just the opposite. If you
Yeah,
if
she would be
you
like-
own the home, we're all welcome at any time.
Yes.
That's who you are.
Yeah, I'll be like, wait, who's inside? If I'm not there, I'll be like, how did you get the keys? Like I would give the key to like,
Not no random person gonna be in
no,
the
but
house.
like daddy would have a spare key. Like you
Yes.
already know that he'll have a spare key.
I'll probably have a
And I would
key
have a
in my
key
house.
I don't
too.
think so.
I would have a key, but I
Yeah.
probably would never.
Troy would
I
have a key.
You would.
Rachel
you
would
would
have a key.
I would be invited to do.
She
certain
probably
tasks.
would never come. I'll be like, you can come, and she'll be like, oh, me and your daddy are just going on a trip. We're gonna be in Puerto Rico, like,
Or in Europe, or
Yeah.
Australia,
Right.
or wherever they're going.
But you would want me to come there to do jobs for you too.
But we already talked about that. You were gonna do all my decor because I'm not a decorations person. Like I'm really bad about like I have ideas of what I like. Like I can see something and be like I like it. I'm not the person that's like
putting it
this
together.
space can be what you can see the vision. Tell me how I like that vision and I'll agree or not. But I'm not the one who's like this space could be turned into a coffee shop. Like I'm not that. I'm like it's a room. And so I would definitely have you come and do all my decorations.
gosh.
I would say, here's my card. Buy the furniture. This is the look I'm going for. Pick the wall colors because you know it's going to be either white walls or beige. So if you want something different, feel free.
But I'm gonna take a chapter from your book, and I'm gonna make it very clear that it will not be
For free.
without compensation.
She says that on this, but we all know it will be for free. She'll be like, keep your money. Don't pay me. No. You don't have to give me anything. That's exactly what you're going to say. And I'll be like, yes, I'll accept for free.
Oh,
Yeah,
my God.
y'all know I like rustic.
I already know what you like.
Yeah. But you would definitely be more willing to like, if people come up, you'd be like, stay
Yeah,
the
but-
night. There's a
No,
pillow.
not stay the night.
Yes, you would. If we were like at your
No,
house.
not y'all, but not random people.
No, I'm talking about us.
Oh, yes,
and
yes,
I
yeah.
also would be like, if we've planned for you to stay that night, then you can stay. But I don't really like, you know that.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't think to just be like, oh, I'm gonna stay tonight, Carmen. I it's too late.
I
wanna
would.
Go.
Now,
would
Now,
go
if it
home.
were, yeah, you could stay. She
I
can do
would.
whatever she wants.
Yeah.
I always do.
But I wouldn't. I don't think so. But I do. I would have y'all probably all have a room in my house.
Yeah,
Cause I told Mama she could live with me. She said she don't want to though.
I would live with you 2 or 3 days a week.
You could just stay at your own house. So I decided
I probably would.
I've already told Carmen what I want. I want a left land. So I'll just build you a house on my land and you just live there.
That's doable.
And so you'll have your own house and I just come check on you and see you.
Sounds like a winner.
That's so
let's
good.
go ahead with that plan.
Yeah. Yeah. And
I like that.
yeah, because then that way she and daddy can have their own space and they don't have to think about me. And then and they don't have to be in my space and she don't have to feel like, oh, I just don't want to be in my own house, Jean. So
Yeah. Yeah. Because you'd be like, ain't God good in your own home? That is well, I think we've got. I think we're at the end of the episode. Yeah, we are out of time for today's episode. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. We will see you in the next one. Bye. Thanks for watching our latest video. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Oh, welcome to the show. Welcome to the show.
Candid
Welcome to the show.
Candid
Welcome to the show.